So welcome everyone. We'll just walk too loud, too loud. 1, 2. Maybe the main one might be a little too loud. One of them. Great. Welcome everyone. Feels cozy today. We'll do the same old thing. We'll close our eyes for a few moments. Suspend our mind a little bit. Free awareness to be aware of its own self, from within its own self. We establish ourselves a little bit, we'll extend through our bodies, awakening everything. Any effort whatsoever. Our situation, which is the true mandala, and that's us. So we extend inside to inside. Then we'll extend to the generational field. And for Kay and with her father died a little while ago this morning. So we'll extend to her husband and to her dad. And focusing on the father. The light. Kay Schaefer. Kay. So we're going to extend the light to the light like we always do. And then we'll extend to the great yogis and teachers we have in our life, and the known and the unknown, especially Namkhe Norbu, who's very, very ill right now. And we'll extend to him. In the oneness of the field. And then we'll extend to all those different traditions that we participate in. Different articulations and opinions about the nature of primordial awareness. Languages and habits and times. Today is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, which is a great feast. So we'll extend to Mary as the Dakini Mother today. And we'll rest in this Sufi chant for a few minutes. Catch the upward spiral. Chant, and we'll leave our eyes closed for a while. And we'll lean into each other. And as I mentioned, today is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. In fact, over there, there's one of the pictures right next to Amachi, and between Ekajaki, the protector in Dzogchen, is a scene of the Annunciation of the angel and Mary at this moment. And when you read the story as a tantric text with layers of meaning, one meaning after another meaning, the story can reveal itself as a metaphor of the Gnostic traditions, the earliest traditions in Christianity, where there's complete focus on the luminous light and the nature of the light being born or carried within all human beings, within human flesh, and that divinity can be brought forth. So the manifestation of the divinity as flesh, as the Namanakaya, and as a Sambhogakaya, even the angel, the angel, if you wish, Sambhogakaya dimension, and Mary, illuminating the knowledge of the flesh as an enlightened form, the flesh as enlightened formed. And so the same Magnificat that Mary exclaims when she understands that the luminous light, the body of light in her and as her, and this light can be brought forth for herself and for others, is the same exaltation experience we all have as human beings when we glimpse this innate nature manifesting itself in us as us, and the concealment opens up and becomes unconcealed. And so in a certain way for me, given how I hear things, the Magnificat is like a Vajra song. You hear these Vajra songs of the yogis, and begins Magnificat anima mea Domine, and says, my soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit, my psyche rejoiced in divinity, which is beatific for me. I mentioned Namkhe Norbo has been sick, and he's really a very great Dzogchen master, a Terma master. He reveals texts, and he's brought forth Dzogchen in a very contemporary way in this time. He also was a lot of fun, those of you who have met him. One of his Terma texts called the Guru Dakini I will read in a couple of weeks, okay? And it's a Sambhogakaya Nirmanakaya transmission, not unlike today is the Immaculate Conception. One of his books called The Song of the Vajra is really worth reading. It's very complete. And as you know, in Dzogchen or in everything in this world, it's all opinions. You with me? We can call it hermeneutic interpretations, but it's all opinions, time and space. Each person articulating their own experience of whatever, huh? And the central understanding of Namkhe Norbo is this, that in Dzogchen, from the very beginning as he understands it, he really is a great historian. He has a very interesting book also on Bon, for those who know them, and the Bon masters used to come here, which is one of the oldest forms in Tibetan Buddhism, both bringing forth Dzogchen, but from a very shamanistic root, where also much of the Nyingma tradition is shamanistic in its roots. And he has a book on Bon in the shamanistic tradition. But in the beginning, when we learn about our nature, or what he calls our real condition, we don't consider that our nature is simply or only emptiness, but movement is also present. And he uses the great master Gabe Dorje, who explains that there's no difference in being in movement and being in the state of stillness. And he said this because people who follow sutra, and many, many traditions have an allegiance to sutra, apply the understanding, and they consider that contemplation and meditation is only getting into a state of emptiness or stillness, and there remaining in a one-pointed state. And that's not really the tradition, how he articulates Dzogchen, or people like Dorje Rinpoche also, and some of these other Dzogchen masters. And yet there are Dzogchen masters who do focus on that. Just, that's how it works. And for some of these people who follow sutra, when thought arises, they do not like it. And when no thoughts arise, they think, now my meditation is developing. In Dzogchen, though it's useful to be at times to be in a state of emptiness, of space, as base, but it's not the whole enchilada. It's not the whole deal. It's not complete. In Dzogchen, the calm state of emptiness is not contemplation. Actually, the contemplation is where there's presence, and you're being in that presence, and this is called contemplation. It's really movement and spaciousness together. So we really learn that round that poem mentioned a few weeks ago, the round. You feel the roundness, and within the non-conceptual state, within the non-conceptual state, which is gnosis, which is awareness, is non-conceptual, arises thoughts and feelings and sensations and memory and the very world itself. The world itself is a manifestation of non-conceptuality, and you and I are manifestations of the world. It's not that we just sort of, we're coming from outer space and we pop into this place, you with me? But it's from this world that we arise out of. That's why it's generational, and it's all that phenomena. We're beings in the world and of the world. We arise out of the world. And the world may be personified by your mother and father in generational field, but it is the world. It's the Nirmanakaya manifestation of divinity. And what's the word we're using too? It had to do with memory. The word amnesia, but there was another one before that about past lives and holding that. The alaya, the traces, and this world has traces, and Sambhoga has traces. There's traces, and we stand on top of these traces, just like we stand within the elements. Everybody following that? So he says, Yes, great. Thank you very, very much. Great. It was cool. That's great. Thank you. If you spend many years, he says, only in emptiness, then realization will be very, very difficult, if not impossible. You want to know experience in the context of instant presence. You want to, and we call instant presence awareness in the field, okay? So you want to experience everything in instant presence, just like in the book on Padmasambhava that you guys are reading. I'm total confidence that you want to experience everything within presence, and we want to feel everything within the field of awareness, which is vast. Pure experience is the fundamental dimension of one's embodiment, or you can say the field. And the basic path is to experience your own life and your actions within and through this presence or through this unfolding field, which is awareness, luminous awareness manifesting through our experiences, experience both within and without. It's not only within. This is not idealism. You with me? For me, I like the word magical realism. I think that says it right, because it is, you're in this world manifesting itself with its different dimensions, does actually take on a magical quality. Even the word like inside to inside is a magical word, and extending the field of light. It's like we did. That is a magical experience. You with me? And I don't mean magic is fabricated, but magical as beyond a mechanical view. Okay? But I like it a lot. And the word magical realism actually has an Argentine root with the famous author Borges. And there was a lot of that way of understanding the world. So when you read his text, you enter into a field-like phenomena. Okay. So luminous awareness manifesting through our experience both within and without the field of eminence. That's why it's all, in this way of understanding things, everything takes place within the field of eminence, inside to inside, at one level. Now, to be in awareness of our awareness brings forth various meditative experiences. We know this, but I'm going over it again a little bit. The first arising meditative experience is sometimes called suchness, targata, or reality as it is, which is spaciousness, or the openness, or the great expanse. Dasein in Heidegger, the great expanse, which is beyond our psychology. And when in that meditative state, there's no grasping, no narrow focusing. We're not focusing on a candle or a point, or even anything whatsoever. The open, unbound focus, what's sometimes called the round, open, round, unbound focus, expansive focus, the non-conceptual knowingness. There is also reflection and pre-reflective states, or non-reflective knowing, the non-conceptual knowingness. The non-conceptual knowingness is the heart of Dzogchen, which is awareness. And in awareness, you can have a mind, and you want to have a mind, but it's not exactly the same. There's a little difference. Ultimately, there's no difference, but for a functional way, we make a difference. To feel the difference, and then out of that, and with that we can then, because when we make that difference, we regain awareness from being so located in the mind. You take the treasure just from being so related in the mind, you enter it into it becomes its own self. Then you integrate the mind, which is thinking, feeling, sensation, and memory. Someone asked about the non-conceptual state on the internet. We all have a friend in Boston. What is a non-conceptual state? We came up last week too. The non-conceptual state is the very essence of Dzogchen. Non-conceptual knowingness. That's what direct perception is. It's non-conceptual knowingness. Knowingness, Knows knowingness. That's what it is. And it's not mind reading. It doesn't care about mind reading. It knows knowingness. It's the light knowing the light. And it knows the different dimensions of its own self. And it also integrates the mind, because then it does also to be here in this world. And sometimes as we experience the great expanse, there's a sense of that's what it's the great expanse, this space. We can feel it right now together. And sometimes as we experience this great expanse, there's a sense of a drop naturally manifesting within us or around us or even beyond us, okay? As space opens, now this is esoterica again a little bit more. As space opens within the body and beyond the body, the basic space of phenomena, it is rather inexpressible and unformulated. Excuse me. And yet within this spaciousness, a drop arises. Often arises out of the heart essence. That's where it's primarily located. That heart essence drop arises, sometimes called a tigle, but it's really a form of the bodhicitta, which is the compassion, which is the very essence of the space of awareness and the light of awareness. So the compassion arises in the Namanikaya form. It arises actually as liquidity, as a drop, like a felt drop, a sense of the energetic drop, And sometimes it arises out of the base of the heart essence, and sometimes the experience is entirely within this drop, within the round, this bindu point that we're in, a round vast drop, which is the oneness of the basic space of reality. And as you do these tantric texts, you actually feel the container of the space. You actually, like the Vajrakalaya practices, holding this, okay? And these drops are nectarian, and they're bodhicitta. They are the bodhicitta in a liquid-like state. And then you think, oh no, the bodhicitta is just space. Well, not in these traditions where the flesh is enlightenment itself. So the bodhicitta drop, which everybody has felt here, is enlightenment in itself. You with me? And we're trying to experience it more, that which is already within us and through us, and we can even pass it on to others. You with me? Which is really wonderful. That can be transferred or transmitted, containing the essence of awareness, the heart essence, the heart drops of Dharmakaya, it's called, and it is the bliss. It is bliss. And when you feel it arise, it's bliss. It is the Mahasukha. And we all love that mantra, Om Ahung, which honors and brings forth the three dimensions of enlightenment. Om Ahung, which is awareness itself, naturally so. Om Ahung, bodhicitta, the great compassion, which arises in every dimension there, and it manifests all the dimensions. It's all a manifest. The most horrible charnel grounds are manifestations of compassion. Not always easy to grok, but nonetheless, that is what we're learning to do, okay? That's why so many dakinis are born in charnel grounds. And within the charnel ground is the space of liberation, okay? And sometimes the drop is blue, like the blue pearl that Swami Muktananda would so often talk about, appearing in the center and rising out. Sometimes it's luminous whiteness, the white drop, and sometimes it's darkness. They call it the dark blue, but it really, there's no lightness in it. It's the dark blue light also arises, this drop. Everybody follow that? The second meditative state that arises is all-encompassing illumination, or sometimes we call it the spreading, or even the body of light. In essence, it's the rising of and the spaciousness of awareness as the great compassion, luminous compassion, as the heart of compassion, which is also radiant light, right? It's different ways of articulating the same phenomena. They really are not different. They really are not separated, but for linguae, and you really don't want to feel them as separate, but you want to sometimes hear it, and then you integrate everything, synthesizing it. A-okay? And this awareness, which is the Vajra. Now, really and truly, see this little thing? This is not the real Vajra. This is just a chunk of metal. Okay, it's symbolic of the Vajra. You see, the Vajra is our own awareness. Vajra is the awareness that's unborn and dying And that to really hold the Nirmanakaya as divinity, you really want to feel you are the Dharmakaya. They kind of go together in a way. You with me? So to own the Nirmanakaya as divinity, you have to really stretch and own Dharmakaya as divinity, that you are the Dharmakaya manifesting your own being and being manifested as the Nirmanakaya and as the Sambhogakaya. You guys follow what I mean by that? So the Vajra, which is awareness, it's also called the Vajravasbhati at times, or the youthful Vasbhati, and it's youthful because it's unborn, undying, primordial presence. And we can feel that. And it is compassion itself. It is beyond empathy. And many people who have awareness, they're also very empathetic because their heart is open early ages. And they grow up being very empathetic people. You with me? And it is like the guide towards compassion, but it's not compassion. One has to grow into it and go beyond compassion. Because the space of the heart, which actually empathy is like the bottom part of it, you find yourself internalizing all sorts of experience, all sorts of sensations, all sorts of energies that are not yours. You with me? Then that starts organizing you. You with me? And that causes a lot of problem for people who have psyche. You with me? So that is one of the things in really entering into the primordial awareness and the Nirmanakaya and Dharmakaya. As it really starts to unfold, you become aware of awareness. You begin to release yourself from empathy in that sense of declining empathy, where you internalize and try and transmute everything through your body because it doesn't work. It is a maternal state, and it does work with babies. You with me? And it does work with little children. It works. But as it goes on, and it can work actually very specifically at a time with a specific person, if you want to transmute something, you can transmute something for a specific person. Okay? At times. If you are beyond that particular schema, if it's your favorite, you won't be able to transmute it. It will bring it up into you more. But if it's not your own, you can at times transmute it if you have the body of light there. You follow what I mean? But you don't have it as an habituated process. Raise your hands. I know everybody knows this, but you really have to know it. Because in stepping beyond that, you will feel a sense of betrayal, okay? Betrayal of your role in the family system, or betrayal of so-and-so, betrayal of Jesus, if that image is in your mind as the person who suffered for everyone. You follow what I'm saying? And it actually frees you from masochism. Much masochism is a function of empathy, suffering for the sake of love unnecessarily. That is why in this great tradition of Dzogchen, which I love so much, it's both fierce and beneficent energies. You with me? And you learn to go beyond the empathetic embrace, which leaves traces in you that aren't necessary. Very, very important for yourself and for people. Love does involve suffering for everyone, you know, with death being always at hand. So, and many people, because they do not want to experience any suffering, they foreclose love. You with me? And they live in a state where it doesn't take place for themselves. The generosity of love. So you have to embrace some form of suffering, but you have to be really clear what's necessary and what has nothing to do with this story. Raise your hands if this is totally clear for everybody. And so this unborn, undying, it is the deathless state. The Vajra is the deathless state, and it begins manifesting as Sambhogakaya. So then as Sambhogakaya, it becomes the archetypical energies, these deities, these archetypes we want to embody, because we have embodied them already. They are us, the Sambhogakaya. We want to bring them forth into Nirmanakaya, because it's really useful. And then also, it helps dissolve fear, fundamental fear. You become fearless. So, this compassion itself, and within the body as the body and the heart. This compassion is radiance. It is the glow of compassion, which is the Vajravaspati, as it's radiant light, and you're becoming more as you do these practices. However you do them, you start having more and more intensity, and you start feeling the body of light more and more, and you feel it within yourself in the ascendant upward spiral, but also you feel it relationally, and relationship itself, people, human beings, sentient beings, becomes a source of light out of resonance. So there's a natural glow in this radiance extending and spreading and invoking and bringing the light in oneself and others. We all know this, we've been over this many times. But it's out of this understanding, this naturalness of our body, that we then have confidence that we can extend the light to people and to ourselves and to each others, right? And generationally and to the whole panoply, okay? And with every extension, you gain more and more light and you become stronger and stronger in the field, and so does the teachers, or so does the traditions and the generational field. It is ultimately guru practice, and the guru is the light of one's own awareness and the light of awareness around us. This is getting too redundant, everybody, but you want to hold this in a way where it is not conceptual, but it becomes non-conceptual. All learning that is really there goes from a concept to non-conceptual. And it's really, as we hold it as understanding is a non-conceptual state. A view of the world is non-conceptual. You may have a view that arose for you for very bad experiences and then became your view. And then you start deconstructing it. And words do help. And language does help. And rhetoric does help. You with me? This is not an aphasic life, okay? And out of language and experience, which absolutely help you, you then begin to assimilate it, and you begin to know it, because the gnosis is opening in you. You begin to know it non-conceptually. You just know it. So if I ask you about who is so-and-so, someone mentioned who is Kay. Well, some of you know Kay, but you know her dad died this morning. But someone knows, once you know, if you don't know her well, then you think, oh, there's Kay, she sits over there, and she's a very talented person, Oh, or you just know her inside without a concept whatsoever. Raise your hands if you understand this. This is really, this is the understanding of yogis, okay? This is the power of the non-conceptual state, okay? Direct perception. So this compassion, this heart essence radiance fills our worldly realm. You with me? So it may fill your condo, it may fill your house, it may fill your car, it may fill your office, it may fill your block. You with me? And so if you're like Lord Buddha, it fills eons or so on. You with me? So, but in every person, it fills the realm that you dwell in, that you want to hold the truth of, okay? It's not so much believing this, and it's not so much disbelieving it. It is being open to the radical possibility. Openness is neither believing or disbelieving. Believing cuts off experience. Disbelieving cuts off the experience. They're two sides of the same warped coin. But being open to experience and having experience being the teacher, which is the field of awareness manifesting in you through experience, and being able to experience that way, will bring you into gnosis. Beneficence is not simply a solitary moment, even if you're by yourself holding the field. But the field and the drop bring forth the same phenomena in oneself and for others. It really ultimately is a experience that we all pick up on with you. One of the reasons why we have such a great time here together, you with me, is because everybody brings their own singular experience of the manifestation of the field, the givenness of the field to them, and it's simply automatically shared. And even though we do gestures like extending and things like that, which is useful, it is really not the essential phenomena of showing up and being in awareness then the different dimensions of the field naturally manifest. So we're fortunate because some people have some Bogakaya dimension in their pocket here. So if 2 people have it, then a third will have it. Then if 3 have it, a fourth will have it. If 5 have it, then 6 have it. You with me? Because that's how it really does work. And these little talks are just elaborations of it. But as we gain the Vajra voice, then the Vajra voice also is a way of transferring experience. With me? Vajra voice, Vajra body, and Vajra mind, right? All transmission. The world is filled with transmission. We transmit to each other every possible thing imaginable. All the phone calls. Let me tell you, let me share this with you. And we transmit generationally, we transmit culturally. Human beings that's why we're like crystals, always in transmission. You take away all the transmissions and we'll disappear. Okay? So, but we also are absolutely amazing that we, as animals also, transmit primordial awareness. They have to, because it's all the same thing. And so we all have the capacity of transmitting primordial awareness in its different manifestations as Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. A-okay? Almost done. So this radiance fills our worldly realm and accomplishes the realization. We actually accomplish realization through radiance. And the manifestation of our nature, both for ourselves and for others. Beneficence is not simply a solitary moment, but the field and the drop bring forth the same in oneself and others. It is truly nature itself. This whole thing is not outside of nature, and in a certain way it's really not contrived at all. The more contrived it is, then the less close it is to the manifestation of primordial awareness. Compassion's naturally glow radiates and invokes echo-like sounds and awakens our own self and others. It spreads. That's why the second is described as spreading, or illumination, Vajravas body, encompassing illumination. Encompassing doesn't just mean ourself, okay? It spreads. In truth, what arises with it, almost done, the gift in you and the givenness in you is not simply, it is for you, but it is beyond you. You really want to have that sense. That is really the bodhisattva posture. Whatever I experience is not only for my own self, but for everyone else. And in the Mahayana Dzogchen traditions, it's considered absolutely essential because it deconstructs spiritual, narcissistic postures, right? Which we all can easily get to. The self-perfected state as an extension of narcissistic achievement orientation. Okay? And that is really, really useful. It's a form of like spiritual materialism, to use that word. So really, in fact, you're a vehicle, an opening, and all the vehicles an opening of primordial awareness in this world. And it happens rather naturally. And this is for all of us if you do not work too hard at it. If you work too hard at these things, this is a really serious thing for all of us. If you do not work too hard at it, and if you work too hard at this stuff, you'll fall into the obsessive compulsive hell realm. You with me? That's the hell realm. You ever been in an obsessive compulsive moment? It really is the hell realm. You could be doing the goodest thing. It could be for the best thing in the whole world. You with me? But as you're doing it, you start dissolving into the fucking hell realm. You with me? Which Freud knew, of course, was the structure of most religions. You with me? And when you hear certain religion discourse, you'll hear it taking you, at least I do, into an obsessive compulsive frame. It is the primitive superego again, offering salvific water to you, you know. You follow what I mean by that? Also known as the good dog, bad dog phenomena. The heart drop shines immeasurable light, but it's here in us, the heart drop in us, or it's actually manifesting, you know. If the drop manifests in you as a tingle, the drop of the liquid light, you can pass this on to someone or someplace. The experience of the body of light encompassing illumination does metabolize old patterns. It metabolizes pre-linguistic patterns. I'm going over this again. It metabolizes preconceptual patterns, and it can also metabolize conceptualized states, the post-Oedipal stuff that you actually have memory about. But many of this stuff is remembered, but without conceptualization, okay? So that is why, number one, transitional space is a key to opening the mind-body communication. Number two, as you become an expert in transitional space, the field opens for you because you begin to become interested and compelled by transitional awareness itself, and you become aware of that. Then it opens as the field, or it's transmitted to you by someone who is, right? And then you start feeling the field opening up to you, space, energy, and light, and the oneness. And that starts really making more subtle work possible, even subtle language, subtle symbols. And then, as it starts opening more and more, the Manakaya starts to open for you, Sambhogakaya and Dharmakaya. And then that allows you, as a healer and therapist, to help hold this with a person. And it doesn't mean you're a muhuka, okay? But you start to hold this, and that helps in the metabolistic process metabolize states that cannot be catabolized from the top down. They can be understood from the top down, head, but they cannot necessarily be metabolized from the top down. So that is the reason why, with certain situations and certain people, just like you all, we work in these esoteric ways, okay? And it is to liberate ourselves and become the embodied light. And in that intensity, and it is intense, and the sublimatory capacities that take place in that as part of the chemical process, there is a dissolving of states of mind that we don't even know about, and generational field phenomena that we don't necessarily know about. This is not against knowing about any of that stuff, either conceptually or experientially, but not everything can be known. Everybody doing okay with this? But that is why this, for me at least, is powerful. Those little gestures and entering into oneness and all this stuff. You with me? It's not simply of entertainment value, and it's not for some transcendental experience. In this frame, there's nothing transcendental. Transcendentalness is an altered state. It's a kind of quasi-trance state you fall in, and you may be safe there. You with me? And it may be very useful if something bad is going down. You really want to be able to dissociate. But it is not the embodied power of natural awareness. With the light and the intensity of it opens up some Bogakaya, where the archetypical powers actually become useful. Actually, something can take place with me, with the archetypical energy, and the Dharmakaya also. Raise your hands. You don't have to believe it, but raise your hands if you're understanding this rap. Okay. So, almost done. And some things can only be resolved through this at a certain level. Like death. In the mind, as a dream, I'm sharing more stories. I told you about that dream. I'll tell it again though. In the dream where there's I hear two people laughing over there, sitting there. And one's laughing, one's Swami Muktananda, and then someone else is behind that little screen. Two old guys, laughing. And Swami Muktananda says, death, the veil between life and death is so thin, so close. And the other, it's just so, it's so veneer, and they're laughing and laughing and laughing. And then Baba says, but if you're only in the mind, then it's impossible. It's an impossible space. It's totally impossible. There's no bridge, You can have memories, look at little books, but there's no bridge really, And then, but if you're in awareness, it's that. And then I started laughing. Then the next morning, then I heard that Kunzang Dzogchen Lip had died. That's who that was. So, but I love that dream also. Okay? Okay, almost done. So this light brings oneness within our own self, and easily also oneness within another, and even oneness in the place. So if you learn to expand yourself through your place where you live, you with me? And actually, just like you do pass-throughs with human beings, and you do pass-through with your dog and your cat, you should really do pass-through with your house, and you should do through pass-throughs with tankas and all those symbols. You really should practice passing through. Because as you pass through, the same phenomena will open up again for you. Raise your hands if you feel that as a possibility. Okay. So, the brief time, and even in time, so even if you pass through a moment, say like you pass through right now, in time, that really holds that time for you in a certain way. It illuminates that particular time in a certain way. Oneness in time. The brief time of the manifestation of your life and my life, and it's really very brief, it's so brief. The Vajra youthful vast body, which we all are experiencing, is the radiance of primordial awareness coming through you. And the degree that you and I are able to sustain continuity, sustain. It's like object constancy. Without object constancy, there's no self-constancy. And if there's no self-constancy, one state is meeting another state. You with me? But with self-constancy, this underlies self-constancy, but in the most broadest sense of that term, the Vajra body held in constancy. So now, we all have experiences, so now we're really working on sustaining. Everybody here is working on sustaining. To the degree that you and I sustain the body of light, our bodies become the body of light and also become the wisdom deity. So as we do this, Sambhogakaya dimension and the Manakaya naturally come into oneness. Even as you do this with a human being, a plain, ordinary human being, and you gain some capacity in the pass-through, naturally the deity becomes present. And by present, I don't mean a little picture. I mean the capacity of Sambhogakaya dimension. The reality of it becomes more felt. And the reality of Nirmanakaya. You've seen one, the other's right next to it. In it. In it. In it and of it. In it and of it. A-OK? One house, 3 rooms. Now, this is what I'm trying to lead up to. And much dualistic clinging, desperate. Every person here has desperation. Unless you're in the Vajravas body. You have to. Desperate clinging. Impossible. It's impossible. It's just impossible. If it would work, do it. Do it. But it's impossible. It's just sheerly impossible. It is completely impossible. It doesn't really work. That kind of hope only gives us hopelessness. Only hopelessness. Collapse. Impossible clinging, grasping, and it dissolves. Fear, unbound fear, dissolves. And then you experience, the more you experience your body as the body of light, youthful, indestructible, ongoing continuity of beingness, of being, the deathless state. And as you and I experience the deathless state, then fear, the horrible fear begins to reside and dissolve. So the Vajravaspati dissolves fear. You know, people talk about getting rid of their ego, separating from their ego, forgetting about their ego, losing their ego, chopping off their ego, getting rid of their ego. I don't think it actually works that way, trying to get rid of it. If you've done it, please come talk to me and let me know how you did it, okay? I've known people who try it, and they become more obsessive, compulsive, redundant, locked in agony, unbound agony, about not being able to get rid of their ego. And by ego, I mean thinking, feeling, sensation, memory, history, and everything else that you come into this world with. You with me? Including your own narcissistic givenness. So, in the Dzogchen point of view, you will hear very, very seldom a true Dzogchen master ever talking that way. In my experience, I haven't. With the real ones. You with me? Quasi ones, yes. But the really realized ones, you'll hear ha ha, you'll hear the laughter of the dakinis around that one. I'm serious about this. Do not even try it. But through the body of light and through the merging of the light, these things dissolve naturally. Much easier. The easy person's path. Almost done. And so you can be nuts. And there are stories of Dzogchen masters that are nuts. Okay, what's in Keith Dolan? Dolan. He wrote he's a great Dowman has a book on one of the insane Siddha masters. Just crazy. Okay, you can be nuts and you can be an ass also. This is a great comfort for some of us. Okay, I'm serious. A luminous nut and a luminous ass. Surely you've met some, okay? Because in our way of thinking in perfectionistic psychologizing, we think, oh, you can't be nuts, and you can't be an ass. And you hear a lot of public speakers, the self-perfected speakers, improve yourself, and it's all some idealistic, ultimately superego-based bound thing where you're trying to stretch to some idealistic form of yourself that no one ever will possess. And then you just find yourself falling again into disappointment. Hope you guys are following this little rap. You don't have to believe it, of course. Luminous ass. Okay? We place ourselves in wisdom gnosis, non-conceptual awareness, and think and feel in this Vajravaspati of light. Let's do it right now. Find it again. And we feel it's filling up my body. It's filling up. This Vajra youth is filling me up. I fill my body with light. And our body can be falling apart, decaying as we walk. And ultimately, in a certain way, the leper is a metaphor for every human being. You with me? The most feared in the leper. The decaying, this, that. And in the body of light, that is the exchange. Becoming the body of light through the body. And then we can feel this luminosity. We can feel resonance to light in the room. You can feel resonance to light in the human bodies. And to the body, to sound. You can feel the resonance in sound. The resonance in all appearances. To smells. If you can smell. Even affects reveal themselves as light, like rage, fire element. The Pure Lands, you know the Pure Lands, Dechawan, the Pure Lands. All Buddhists love the Pure Lands, and every different deity has Pure Lands. Padmasambhava, there is. What's the Pure Land? No, there's another. There's a picture in the kitchen of it, though. But there's Amitabha has a Pure Land. Dechuan, the Avalokiteshvara, they're the Pure Lands. You guys never heard of the Pure Lands? Raise your hands if you heard of Pure Lands. Okay, the Pure Lands. The Pure Lands like happen when you die, you go to the Pure Land. But in a certain way, the Pure Lands are here right now. It's all totally present right now. And sometimes you shift at death. We go from this state to another state. But the Pure Land is actually present now. We can reach it, just like we can reach the deathless state now without having to die as such, which is great preparation for dying, because then it's the same thing. The Pure Lands are present now. They're actually here now. Namanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya are here and now. And this timeless presence is completely ordinary. The thing is, it's completely ordinary. The entire phenomena is totally ordinary. And to the degree that we make it special or extraordinary, at that moment we are entering the true delusion. Not the delusion that I exist and you exist and we're here for a brief time or that we're manifesting, but we start to go elsewhere. We think God is elsewhere. Where's God? God is elsewhere. God is elsewhere. Where's God? God's elsewhere. Where's Shiva? Oh, Shiva's elsewhere. I'm learning to get there. I'm taking the train to get to Shiva. Oh, Buddha. Buddha's elsewhere. Buddha's elsewhere. You know, I'm doing 1,000 push-ups, 1,500, and then I'm ready to get there. With me? So that kind of, there's a certain place for religious stuff, but you have to take it and watch the obsessive-compulsive component of it, okay? Because skillful means in gnosis, or in oneness, completely in oneness, and they manifest each other. A-okay? We're going to end up now. So finally, the final one we're not going to go into is the sacred syllables arising. The third meditation is the syllables arising, the mantric syllables. And we'll focus on that next week. And so now we'll stop. Did everybody take the text? Who wants the text? The line face Dakini? Huh? No, that's a talk. There we go. And I'm going to have a little, I have one of those guys too. Thank you. So here we are. You don't owe $2 for this one. That was only a symbolic moment, okay? 3 pages, yes. 3 pages. Big one, 2 pages. So here we are. So we're going to, huh? What, huh? You know, I haven't thought of, what did I put? I probably won't be for the last one then, okay. We'll take off between New Year's and Christmas. We'll take off that one, okay, great. Yes, that's fair enough, okay. So here we are, let's hold awareness. We're gonna do this line Dakini again. Is that okay with everybody? So we're going to actually feel the posture. If you're religious about this stuff, you lose it. If you go obsessive or compulsive about, oh my God, I can't find the 3rd channel, or I can't find any channels, and it is really, you constantly have to release yourself. It's best to consider these things as entertainment, okay? Anybody has obsessive compulsive tendencies here? We all do. This is an obsessive-compulsive culture, right? That's why we can do so many things efficiently and be so miserable at the same time, you know? That's what obsessive-compulsive is. It's highly efficient, but miserable. Everybody, we all sharing this, right? Everybody sharing this? So here we are. So let's hold for a moment. And this is one, the first one was a nun hand clapping, but I'm going to give this hand clapping one again, and the next time I'll give out another one. The line face, like, and there's also a masculine version to the line. But there's, in many of these traditions, there's a clap. Qigong masters clap, and there's a certain way that's not it. You can tell when you hit it, it feels on, and you get more chi from it. There's a certain clap. There's a certain way, right? Here's a wimpy clap, you know. Here's a desperate clap, you know. No, that just felt right. So there's a certain way it feels that you have it right. And if you go into right and wrong about it, you're going to go into obsessive compulsive and you lose it. So it's a bit a matter of luck. But, oh, yeah, that felt good, okay? But it gives you the feeling of a hit. You with me? It is like a pot. You with me? It's a home run. Pop. And that pop is what some of these practices are about. You with me? You're dissolving stuff. You're hitting it. You're potting it. You're hitting it. Gabe Dorjes, you're potting, whether it's your mind. But if you go around potting everything, you lose obsessive compulsive. You lose it. You with me? Yes. We'll pass the microphone to this guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, sir. And then we're going to break into pairs after this.
So
yes.
in physics, in quantum mechanics, to move from one state to another state takes an input of energy.
Cool.
And so the clap gives that pulse of energy to shift
Fantastico.
To another state of being.
Makes total sense. Total sense. Great. Thank you. Really helpful. So here we are. So we're going to read this little thing together today, okay? So let's, we're going to skip the word visualization, though, because you can visualize, but in our society, visualization can lead us into obsessive-compulsive stuff. We really want to enter into that. You want to lean into it. We're good at that. We want to lean into it. Okay, so we can all say it, I instantly become the line-faced Dakini. And through the radiation and reabsorption of the mantra in my heart, all harm doers are completely dissolved. We're going to add the word dissolved and annihilated, okay? Annihilated is a reified word. And so dissolved is a more true word, okay, than this, annihilate, okay? Then we see them feel the mantra, and I'll add a few phrases that are more appropriate. Akasama ratsa sara rasa marayat pat. You can say pet or pot, depending on your proclivities. And then, rather than saying Namo homage, because it takes us back into the lordly king thing, which is Dhamma, I embrace, okay? I embrace the lineage gurus and the meditation deities, and to the fierce Mara subduing Dakini. Mara means the demonic energies. Negation. And even if you think of people like Bion, who wrote about this, Bion wrote about like the negation, certain forms of psychosis as negation. You with me? Negation of the mind, negation of the body. That is how we're thinking about this. We're not thinking about it in moral terms. We're thinking about it in like Bion terms, negation of phenomena terms, negation of substance, negation of support, negation of the life force, negation of mind. You follow what I mean? A-okay? Now, and by blessings, we're going to say by the gift of the great truth, may all curses, sorcery, black magic, and evilness, evil energy, bad and evil energy, dreadful, ominous, non-conductive obstacles. Have you ever felt you're in a non-conductive obstacle space? Many people do. And hateful enemies. Yes, hateful enemies. Hope you have at least one. Hateful enemies, okay? Okay. Be reversed. Reversed means you're not trying to kill them or harm them. You're reversing the energy. You're reversing the direction, okay? You're really reversing that flow towards you, okay? Which is really useful. It's not your job to internalize everything. Okay. And may the harmful, obstructing forces be reversed. May all the negativities be sent back to the harmful martyrs and obstructors. Completely reverse with no trace remaining. You really understand the power of trace, right? In the generational field and phenomena of the power of trace. The shadow of the object, the shadow of the generational field, the shadow of those. These are traces. And the traces are in the, what's that word again? Alaya. And the alaya is just a metaphor. By the strength of the fierce feminine awareness mantra, may the maras that cause obstacles to the accomplishment of awakened awareness, all harm be dissolved. And rather than harm doers, all harmful actions or energies. Let's go to energies. Harmful energies without exception be dissolved. And may all intentions be achieved as through wish fulfilling. Okay. And you can feel where the translation gets stronger and you feel the words that reflect it. It's like there's more energy to it. Okay? Okay. I instantly become, we'll do it together, the line face. You can feel the posture if you want to. Let's just do it a little bit with the posture first. You don't always do it this way. But you can feel your wrists either on the ground. You want to feel that little arch in the back. And if you can feel those three channels, that'll be great because it's a channel of light. You lean forward. And you feel it. Now we're going to pull on each other first. We're going to practice magnetizing each other. We're going to pull on the top of each other's chest. Let's do that. And then the light. And then if you want, you can focus on the belly a little bit. Just with your belly. Resonating that pull. Say yes if you feel it a bit. That's what magnetizing does. It helps bring it forth in yourself. Now, as I'm doing this, who's getting better? Moi. Because as I'm doing it, this is why it's really conjoined. It really is co-emergent, okay? So that helps bring that dimension more forward. And then we're going to forget about the triangles right now. And then we'll say the text today. I instantly become the line-faced Dakini, and through the radiation and reabsorption of the mantra in my heart, all harm doers or actions are completely dissolved. Aka, Sama, Ratsa, Sara, Ratsa, Mara, Yat, Hat! I embrace the lineage gurus, the meditation deities, and to the fierce Mara subduing Dakini, by the blessing of the great truth, may all the curses, sorcery, black magic, and evilness, dreadful, ominous, non-conductive obstacles, and hateful enemies be reversed. May the harmful, obstructing forces be reversed. And may the negations be sent back to the harmful maras and obstructions. Completely reversed with no trace remaining. By the strength of the fierce feminine awareness mantra, may the maras that cause obstacles to the accomplishment of the awakening of awareness and all harmful actions without exception be dissolved. And may all intentions be achieved as through wish fulfilling. We'll hold this for a minute. And we use the word feminine rather than female because, in fact, this doesn't belong to gender, okay? And isn't just the whole thing is androgynous, okay? The balancing of the masculine and feminine energies in one's own body is the essential accomplishment of the tantric and alchemical path. Okay? And you can make your own translation, because the less reifying the language, the more powerful. So when anything is reified or thingified, we can go with this text more and translate it. So now, let's get into pairs. Let's pair up with someone, okay? If you're new, we're going to also have people mentoring. So, and if you don't want to do it, but Skip, I'm going to have you, if you don't mind, mentoring Tiagen, okay? And then Kate, Jan will mentor you, okay? And that really means you don't have to work with each other. Today you can. Maybe you can today, just to get to know each other. And then who else is new here? Someone really new? Yes. I'm going to have, let's see. Carol will mentor, I'm sorry, I'm really blank at this. Yes, your name? Jeff, okay? And who else is new? Yes, Patricia will mentor you, okay? Great. We'll probably have some new people coming, and we'll do mentoring. And mentoring means after a session, you can make a phone call or email. What does that word mean? Or if you have some practice issues also, but we want that to take place, okay? Because we can catch up quickly with each other. One of our confidence is 2 awarenesses are better than 1, and if you have some mastery of the field, that can be given easily away to a person who's open to it, non-conceptually. So let's pair up now, okay? And you don't have to mentor this person forever. This might just be for a few weeks, and then we'll switch it around. Okay, so I'd like you guys today to simply get in the line face posture a little bit, if you don't mind, in a gentle, super easy way, whatever that feels for you. You do not have to be perfecto. Okay, you don't want the posture to get in the way of the drama. This is not against hatha yoga. Hatha yoga postures when working are really fantastic. They are the drama. But you don't want it, just like whatever the skillful mean is. So we're going to focus now. Now let's lean into the line posture again. In your own body. You're going to feel the center connecting to the ground, and you're going to feel the 3 channels that are in the perineum. One is under the sexual center. One is the middle. There's actually a point. There's an acupuncture point. Dan's not here today. Anybody know that acupuncture point? That point is. It's a very famous point. And third is another point right by the anus. A little bit in front of the anus, okay? Now, today, everybody's with each other as therapists, except for the new people a little bit, okay? I would like those of you that are to lean into each other. Everybody can do it. Lean, whether you knew or not. Lean into each other, the column. Lean the column into each other. But in practice, lean your field into the person, but also lean the entire column. This also helps sublimation take place. And focus the energy lower, and walk up the column to the Dantian. from above the Dantian solar plexus to the doorway of the heart, inner heart essence, that doorway. From that up to the throat. Up to the face. Place your hand simply on the ground in front of you, right in front of your own body, and focus the energy under the person's dantian, under the perineum. Focus the energy under the perineum. Hand open and focus the energy. Activate those channels on the ground. You want to have it on the ground a little bit because it's really, you're going actually below the ground. On the ground, and you're going a little more refined now, and you activate those channels. And sometimes you activate the front first, because we want that one. We'll come up the front, activate the middle one, and activate the one by the anus. You don't have to touch the person. You want to just feel the energy going there, and that will activate it in yourself. If it's working, you should feel more activated. Now, just like you clap, just feel a little power in your hand, like you're going to raise the energy with your hand, like you're amplifying it. You don't have to touch the person. Just feel a little push, not much, effortless push, like like a like hum. You don't have to say hum. You can feel it. Now, if you want, you can both feel those points on your thighs, inner thighs, connecting to your navel, from your navel to your breast, from your breast to your throat, from your throat to your side of your eyes or ears, to your forehead or inside the head. Just feel those triangles. And I'd like the people who's back against the wall, like mine is, now to lean further into him or her. Pass through, but with consciousness of leaning with those columns, okay? And we're working specifically on activating those columns, those 3 channels. There's also 2 channels that we know very well on the right and left-hand side. We're not worried about those because those are naturally awakened for everybody here. Now, after you've done the pass-through, just pull from deep within you on his or her heart essence, on the inner heart essence. There's no effort. It's like entering, it's like opening into oneness. The sense is opening into oneness, heart essence oneness. And from the palate of your mouth, feel the palate of their mouth, and you're going to pull. Same, you're trying to help open the doors. And with your heart energy, you're now going to go to the third eye. And you're going to breathe the breathless breath from your heart. Can you feel that? Yeah. Because it all gets very combined. All these centers are really one center. Just like all the deities are one deity. Now we're going to go above the person's head with your heart. Focusing about a foot ahead. Extend that energy there. And then you can lean back and go 3 feet above. 9 feet above. And with the same heart, let yourself hold the sphere, S-P-H-U-R-E, that's in front of you, that person. And you're going to extend the sphere of the heart essence, to that entire sphere in front of you, which is round or oblong. Oblong. Then you're going to rub their wrist with your right hand. Just take their wrist and rub your wrist. Like the lion's tongue. And you can rub up to the elbow, just up to the elbow joint. Really super gently. You really want to just feel, and you can do the other hand. From the hand, the wrist, opening that up to the elbow joint. You can take your wrist and you can touch the third eye gently and just go a little bit up to the head, just a little bit up, like you're opening, I think that is you're using that soft, just that up to the forehead, a little bit on top if you want. You can also go already back a little bit. Then you'd go by the eye, those channels there, back, and then the other eye, back, opening that up. Using your wrist, please, because wrist is a very powerful chakra without intrusion. Then, behind the head, by the lower neck, the cerebellum, you're going to touch the cerebellum. Like you're opening it. You want to feel the cup, like you're cupping it with your wrist, opening that, and then pulling a little bit up. And that is really one sometimes where the deities really come into people, through the back cerebellum. And finally today, you're going to touch their cheek, underneath the cheekbone a little bit, but focusing on the palate of the mouth and your own palate, because that's where the nectarian states can also flow. And with a little teeny little push, like you're just like the line licking. But so you can feel that extension, opening that up. A little lower, almost you have to go a little lower below the cheekbone. You're trying to enter the channel there that goes into the palate of the mouth. Then we're going to sit back and open our mouth gently. We're not going to say the mantra, we're just going to feel it. Now we're just going to sit quietly.
Allah
stay with this subtle undulation. Remaining with the unfolding. We can release the heart drop, if you'd like. Now remaining in the same space, sustaining the same place, you can talk with your companion about what has just taken place without losing the place where you're speaking from, that you're in. It's like being in that space, which is unfolded, and then chatting about what unfolded and is unfolding. Great. So we're going to start to end up. And next week, I think we're going to have a guest. Ulysses Ponasset will be here. So happy he can make it, and he's doing well, and health is better. So I think we'll have him here. Have a little bit of a joie day. So we'll see you guys next week. Also, there's actually in where at? McGarchin is talking in Arizona. Okay, Tucson, Arizona. But he might be coming here in January, which is great, to Washington area. And anyway, that's about it. Any announcements? Thank you guys. We had a good time today. Hasta la vista. Take it easy. See you guys later. Take a break. See you next Wednesday.